Hey guys, it's Uni Sherman, and today we're going to be reviewing the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Spider-Gwen and Spider-Ham action figures by Sentinel Toys. As you can see, here is the box. Very, very nice box art of the figure. Here's the side. You have some promo images. There's Spider-Ham, Spider-Gwen, and the back, this beautiful art, which I just love. On the other side, you have way more promotional images of the figure. Here's the top. It says Into the Spider-Verse. And at the bottom, there you have all your legalese, UPCs, barcodes, everything. So yeah, let's crack this figure right open. Getting the figure out of the box, as you can see, Sentinel did include a nice little instruction booklet just showing you everything that works with the figure. Very nice. And it did come with two trays. Here is the first tray. As you can see here, we have our Spider-Gwen figure. We have extra hands, head. We have a different torso. There's our Spider-Ham with all of his different accessories. And if you go ahead and take that off, as you can see, we have a second tray where we have the stand, some flipping effects, and a Spider-Ham stand in the corner. Finally, the moment that we've all been waiting for. Here is Sentinel Spider-Gwen completely out of the packaging, and I have to say she looks fantastic. The sculpt and the proportions are really, really well done. I think that this is probably the best Into the Spider-Verse Sentinel figure by far in terms of engineering and looks aesthetically. It's probably one of the closest to the movies. As you can see right here, one of my favorite aspects is that it has this very, very nice sculpted texture all throughout all of the black, which is done very, very nicely. And as you can see, the white is smooth and the pink sections are painted on there really, really nicely with the web pattern. There's no bleeding, there's no paint defects, no nothing, and it looks very, very nice. Zooming in on that head right here, as you can see, those are some really, really nice details. You have like a little pixelated effect, which is very nice. And yeah, you can also see right there, the blue is applied very nicely on her ballet shoes. Overall, I think that this is probably the perfect mesh of articulation and aesthetic that a figure can get. I would say that the only part of this figure that suffers from articulation is probably right here where it's cut. So there's a divot there, which does allow for way more range. It's done a lot better than it was on Peter B, but that is something to be aware of. Hopping right into this figure's articulation, it is amazing. The head can go all the way up, but the hood does kind of get in the way sometimes. It's completely separated, so you can get the full range of motion, but when in certain poses, it does kind of droop down. You can't really get it all the way up, as you can see. But the head does look all the way up. You can get it all the way down. Very, very nice tilt. Obviously, you have your swivel, and that allows for some really great motions. Right here, we have just a ball peg in there, just a ball joint. So the out is about 90. Swivels all the way around. You can get a little bit of bicep swivel from the top. The only issue with this, you can also get some very, very nice butterfly. The only issue with this is that when you try to go up and out, you can't do that because of the ball peg. It clashes right there, as you can see. Very nice bicep swivel. Double bend at the elbow goes all the way. For the wrist, we have a ball joint right there. So it's a little bit better than Miles. Miles just had a peg. You get a little bit of extra range, not much, but a little bit. What I'm very, very impressed with is definitely the torso articulation. As you can see, it goes all the way down. Very, very nice tilt. Plenty of hula hoop action. And as you can see, it goes all the way back, which is very, very nice. As for the legs, no drop down joint, but it's not really needed, to be honest. It goes forward pretty much all the way. It goes out all the way. There is a swivel in there. It's not the best just because it's so deep in there, you can't really get it. You're getting most of your thigh rotation from the ball joint itself, which can be a little bit limiting when you try to get crouching poses. As you can see, I can't turn it even though I want to, but that's okay. Double bend at the knees, like I said earlier, goes all the way. You're not going to have an issue with that. And then right here we have a hinge and swivel at the ankle. So it goes forward, goes all the way back, as she should. And you have very nice tilt, and you can also swivel it. And a very nice toe joint, which is tight going up. And the only issue is that because there's no plastic stopping it there, which is obviously for the ballet poses, it's extremely loose going down. And this is an issue that I've heard on several of these figures. But yeah, overall the articulation is really, really nice. You can get her into some really nice poses. If you want to do a 3-point stance, that is something that you would be able to do, as you can see, very, very easily. And overall, I think that this is probably better articulation than Peter B, which I think is very, very impressive, especially for a Spider-Gwen figure. I think that Sentinel went above and beyond with this figure. So yeah. Don't think that we're done yet either, because this is a 2-pack. Right here we have our little Spider-Ham action figure, and I'm counting this guy as an action figure because he comes with so much stuff. You can get him into like really crazy poses that I was surprised you would be able to even do that weren't shown in the promo images. So this is a second figure. I'm counting this as a 2-pack. For articulation, we're going to do it really quickly. He has a ball joint that lets him look all the way up. Not much down, but that's all right. Plenty of tilt. Very nice ball joint. He has ball joints at the shoulders. Gives you some range, and then it's mostly for swivel though. He has a swivel at the waist, and he also has a ball joint at the tail, which is really nice. But yeah, that's the articulation that you're going to get on your Spider-Ham figure, and a lot of the posing comes with all of the other accessories, which we're going to show off here in a little bit. Taking a closer look at all of their accessories, as you can see, they are absolutely stacked. I don't think I could have asked, I don't think anybody, in fact, could ask for more out of a Spider-Ham and Spider-Gwen 2-pack, if I'm being completely honest. For starters, Spider-Gwen does come with 6 pairs of interchangeable hands, including the ones that she has on in the packaging, as well as 1 extra loose hand, which I'm assuming is to hold her phone, but we are going to try that out later. She also has 1 web swinging effect, which is really, really nice. And then she comes with technically 4 pairs of heads, again, including the one that she came with in the box. She comes with 1 masked head that's more squinting. She comes with a unmasked Gwen Stacy head sculpt, which is just looking dead on. And then she also comes with one that's looking to the side. And one of the cool things that I actually noticed about these head sculpts, which Sentinel just did not have to do at all, is that you can, in fact, swap out the hair pieces, as I'm showing right here. So you can pretty much give her any look that you want, and it just gives collectors so many more posing options, which I think is very, very nice. Taking a closer look at her hands, she comes with a pair of relaxed hands, wall crawling hands, splayed out hands, web swinging hands, again the fisted hands that she comes with in the packaging, this 1 relaxed hand, and web whipping hands. She also has a very nicely sculpted down hood for obviously the unmasked head sculpts, and a phone with some very, very nice printing on it, as you can see, which is obviously the photo that Gwen Stacy had for most of Across the Spider-Verse. Now, of course, taking a look at Gwen's most unique accessory, she comes with this entirely interchangeable upper torso, which does allow you to have the schoolgirl outfit at the beginning of Into the Spider-Verse, which is a very, very nice feature. It is a bit tricky to swap on, however. It could have been done a lot simpler by just having you pop this waist off, as you can see, and then just kind of sliding this over the skirt. But the skirt has a sculpted butt in there, so what you have to do is you have to pop off her legs, at least one of them, right there, which can be a little bit scary. You have to weave this off, and then what you want to do is you want to take this butt piece, you just want to slide one leg down through there. Once you have that, you have to kind of, it's really, really tricky, but you have to pretty much feed the other leg through and try to pop it on half blind. And as you can see, I am struggling. There we go. And then finally, of course, you just take the upper top piece, and then you just go ahead and pop it right back on there. But yeah, there you have the schoolgirl look, which is really, really well done. None of it is actually articulated, as you can see. The only part of articulation are the swapped out legs, which are fine, but you're not really gonna get this figure in many poses. There's a ball joint at the head, which has nice range, but other than that, pretty much a statue. But still, again, a very, very nice option that Sentinel did not have to include whatsoever. What I'm most excited for is honestly Spider-Ham's accessories. Not because Sentinel did anything super crazy, but because they just didn't cut any corners. They treated him like another full-fledged figure, and I think that that's something that no other company has done, not even Mafex, and I just absolutely love what they gave us with this figure. As you can see, he comes with 4 different pairs of interchangeable hands, including the ones that came in the packaging, and then he also has 1 loose one, which is meant to hold the mallet. So he comes with 1 whipping hand, 1 splayed out hand. He comes with a pair of hands to hold the camera. He comes with 2 relaxed hands, which look really, really nice at his side. And then he obviously comes with the mallet holding hand, which means he obviously comes with a mallet, as you guys can see. The camera that I did bring up earlier. He comes with a pair of lower legs, which are posed much more dynamically. And this very, very, very nice sort of sad or like drifting off into the sunset Spider-Ham head, which is very, very nice. And of course, as I did mention earlier, you will be receiving this very, very nice Sentinel stand. Sentinel did throw in 2 of the stands, or 2 of the articulated poles, I guess. But they also threw in this one really, really small one, which can also just be plugged in to the side. But it's mostly meant to, and it has a little swivel right there, but it's mostly meant to hold Spider-Ham when he's just standing there. So, and I will show that in a second. And as I mentioned earlier, pretty much all you want to do is just rest the back of his head on the stand, and it will kind of balance him and keep him from not falling. It doesn't work the best, but I mean, it's something that they included, and you know, it works for what it is. Now on to the issues. Every figure has them, and while Sentinel definitely did a good job with this release, she's no exception. She does have some problems that I've noticed while messing and playing with her, and I just wanted to make sure that you guys were also aware. For starters, this hood can be very floppy, so you might have to futz with it before you can actually get it to look right and get it into the position that you would want. I can give Sentinel the benefit of the doubt and say that it is a costume issue when being translated into action figure form, because pretty much every other Spider-Gwen figure does have some sort of floppy hood syndrome, but it is definitely something to still be aware of. Now, moving on to a bigger issue, are these swap out hands. They're not a hinge and swivel ball joint, which definitely limits you. And because Sentinel decided to sculpt them at an angle for this specific release, it does limit you in posing, because to have this hand flat on the ground, you have to angle her arm to the side, which definitely limits you in posing. You can't just have her in a regular neutral 3-point stance. And it's like that on several of the other arms as well. As you can see, here is her swinging hand, which is also angled down. But probably the best example of this, or worst, however you want to put it, is definitely these whipping hands. Not only are the web effects sculpted on, but because this is at a downward angle, it looks like she's kind of just drooping her webs down, which is not the best. While it can obviously serve for some dynamic posing, I wish that either this was removable or this was just straight. Moving on to my biggest issue with the figure. A lot of people might not have a problem with this, but I do. It is just the way that you swap on the Gwen Stacy torso piece. I think that it's a little bit overcomplicated and makes you take risk in breaking your figure that's not needed. Instead of simply making it so that you pop this off and then slide the skirt over and obviously put this on top, they decided to sculpt a button there, which just makes you do extra work. You have to pop off the legs, and then you have to weave it through, and then you have to pretty much, like I said, blindly pop the legs back in and then pop the top back in. I just think that that's a bit overcomplicated, and it risks breaking the figure right here simply because of how brittle the ball socket is. It can definitely snap, and that's just something I'm worried about. So I definitely will not be swapping these on as much as I would like to because of that. But those are, I would say, the main issues. And if you notice, it's not that many, or not something that I can overlook, or not something that I'm not used to with Sentinel figures. I know that was seemingly a lot of bad, but I wanted to move into some of the stuff that I absolutely love about this figure, because there's a lot. For starters, the articulation is out of this world. Nothing's loose, all the joints are very, very smooth, which I like. You can get her into very, very crazy, very dynamic poses. The articulation is done extremely well. The proportions are also done very nicely. She looks like Spider-Gwen. They did take some artistic liberties, but I still really, really love the proportions. This sculpted texture, as I said earlier, is fantastic. The very, very smooth, shiny white, the pixelated texture on the eyes, it's that little extra mile that Sentinel went to make this figure aesthetically look and feel amazing. Another thing that I do really, really like is definitely the head sculpts. I didn't think I was gonna like them, but they grow on you more and more the more you look at them. This one, not so much, but this one is, I think, amazing. Finally, of course, I think everybody guessed it, I absolutely love these Spider-Ham accessories. They gave us so many, and they honestly give you a lot of posing options, surprisingly. I mean, I literally have this figure in a 3-point stance. That is something I never thought we would get out of a Spider-Ham figure, and I think that the attention to detail for this minifig is honestly crazy, and I just absolutely, I go bonkers for stuff like this. Now, getting into size comparisons, here are Spider-Ham and Spider-Gwen next to the Mafex Miles Morales from Into the Spider-Verse, as well as the Mafex Peter B. Parker. Spider-Gwen could be a little bit taller, but overall I think that the scale works very, very nicely with these figures. And here we have them alongside all of the other Into the Spider-Verse Sentinel releases. So we have SPDR, we have Penny, we have Peter Parker, and we have Sentinel Miles. And I think that they all scale really well, and this just makes me really, really excited for Sentinel Spider-Man Noir, so that we can finally finish off the Into the Spider-Verse crew. And one last size comparison, I did want to show you guys what they look like next to SH Figuarts Miles and Spider-Gwen from Across the Spider-Verse. Okay, I lied. Here's one last size comparison just for the fun of it. Here she is next to Mafex Homelander. Overall, at the end of the day, I think that this is probably Sentinel's best release to date. I think that her accessories and the inclusion of Spider-Ham are executed very, very nicely. And if you missed the Mafex one, or you just might not want to wrap around and get it, this is definitely a great opportunity to have a Spider-Gwen. As I said previously, once again, my only real gripes with this figure are things that have already been pre-established in the Sentinel line, like the sculpted hands, and it might not scale perfectly, but other than that, I do think that this figure is pretty damn close to being perfect. And I do think that overall, with the amount of accessories you get, with the articulation, the sculpt, the paint, every aspect of this figure, you guys will be satisfied. And I also did want to say that I don't really see any other company making another version of Into the Spider-Verse Gwen, so this definitely might be your last chance of getting this particular version of her suit. Overall, I'd give this figure a very, very solid 9 out of 10. And I honestly do think that this should be y'all's definitive Spider-Gwen. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to support the channel by checking out some of the other overviews that I have up right now. And if those aren't really your thing, then just go ahead and subscribe, because I will have more reviews coming soon.